Good evening, everybody, and fans of the Go Mode podcast, and everybody here on Twitch. We have a bi-weekly seed race for you between, I believe we have 5 or 6 people running. We got 4 resteamed runners. However, before we get to that, quickly before they get started, because it should be soon, my name is Sir Linkalot, and I'm joined here on commentary by Raylan Tank here. How are you?
I am doing fine, and I am pretty excited to see how this will play out. As the first sorter seeds for 3 of our 4 race stream runners, I'd assume, and then we have Daaanty joined the host of the podcast now as the 3rd member. Chose the mode for this week, and yeah, let's see what there will be in store for them.
Yeah, we are definitely going to find out what's in store for them. As far as this, like I said, it is sortless. However, there are a little bit of notes we'll add to it. Daaanty did make it a little bit of a customizer when it comes to where some of the items are to make it a little bit easier for the everybody that's not experienced with sortless. The hammer we are going to find immediately in Link's house. Half magic is in Sanctuary. And then within Kakariko Village, we have both mail upgrades and some heart containers to help everybody out. Other than that, though, everything else is randomized in the entire game. I guess the one thing I should add is there are also a 10 bomb drop in the Lost Woods.
Yeah. Everything else that we will find throughout this world is randomized. We might come back to remind you of that later.
Yeah, we may. And as you kind of see, we've got 2 runners starting at Link's house, getting the hammer.
Daaanty, however, does not really care about the time in Kakariko. And probably just heading straight to the bombs.
Yep, not just yet. And we got our kind of map check there. We've got a pendant up on Hera. We've got crystals on both Desert Palace and Tower of Hera.
Well, you probably wanted to say Eastern Palace, as Hera was pendant.
Yeah, Eastern. Yeah, Eastern.
So yeah, with the hammer in Link's house, it's also good an opportunity to just get the front of escape out of the way, since you already have a good weapon. But
yep, also we get that bottle, so now you can check Sick Kid when you do go to Kakariko.
Lumaga does not continue through the front of escape, or apparently wants to. So we will get to see what's in there.
There's that 10 bomb drop in Thieves' Hideout. But yeah, kind of one of those things when you want to do the front of escape is, that reliable.
Yeah, while you might be able to do it with bombs, it's not something you really want to do, as if you miss one and you have you have to hit 5 bombs throughout, can go wrong. And having something like the hammer where you can just try again, much better.
Definitely. And there's our Moon Pearl. So the play to go into Hyrule Castle definitely good.
Yeah. On the other hand, we see on the anti-side now the rest of the items that are placed. Bunch of heart containers. Then the first mail upgrade are here, and over on the wall the other mail upgrade. And I'm not really sure were there even more heart containers over there? Or was it just the one more mail?
Just the other mail. That's the only other thing that's been pre-placed, and it is behind the bombable wall in the well. So we should find that in just a second on Daaanty's side, it looks like. And there is red mail. And we also get a shovel.
So this shovel, we do not know what it leads to, and we didn't even know that we would get it there. And well, there was a green 20 rupees. What's the meaning of that one?
So the green 20 rupees, in case you have never played a sword list, that signifies where the swords actually would have been placed. So if this would be a normal seed, we'd be on Fighter Sword right now. But it's not. We'll never see a sword. We'll just see potentially maybe 3 more of those green 20 rupees. Lumaga getting all his hearts, and Oro actually is going to, looks like, skipping out of Kakariko Village right now.
That is an interesting play, but you know about quite a bit of the village's content, and you might wanna try to find a flute first, maybe to activate it right then and there when you're finally going to grab your safeties.
Yeah, that's true. And on the Bottle Merchant, we get the Cane of Burnout.
That is certainly a nice find in a swordless seed, as it's one of the ways to get a good fight against blind, especially if you have half magic and full half magic bar. Since the Cane of Burner is one of the items that can actually hurt blind, and since blind takes equal damage from all of the weapons, it's just as good, if not better, as a hammer, maybe, since you also get the invincibility of it.
Yeah, and with half magic already, it's kind of reliable when it comes to that. You don't have to use too much magic to actually keep it on.
On the other hand, Oro doing a good job of doing mini Moldom Cave here with the hammer. It's not as easy as it may have been looking like, because that hammer hitbox is not fun. But he is rewarded with the book and the first glove, so he has Dark World access now.
Yep, immediate Dark World access at 5 minutes, so we'll see what Oro decides to do at this point. Sanctuary, so maybe looking at Kakariko now.
Would make sense. You wanna grab your safeties after all, and you can go to the Light World right then and there. Oh, looks like we're getting a check of the back of escape first. We have that glove on now, after all.
And Xilo finally gets his hammer. I think, yep, Daaanty's also going to be picking his up shortly. Now all of our runners have that hammer. Oro, unfortunately, does not have a bomb, though, to check the back.
That is unfortunate. Little bit of an oversight, but hopefully not bothering him too much.
No, I have a feeling he'll go back to it when he gets some bombs. He knows that there's the bomb drop, at least in Lost Woods. I have a feeling that's where...
Yeah. Lumaga, being done with the Kakariko checks, is chaining the shovel check right after it.
Just 10 arrows, and you're really not worried about it because you don't even have a bow for it.
Yeah. There are 2 bows, and when you're swordless, getting one of those as a weapon is not that bad. It's a pretty strong weapon with quite a ranged capability and doesn't depend on magic. So it's a good way to keep some of the enemies away from you, since you cannot use a sword for that.
Yeah, definitely. Xilo having a little bit of difficulties with the mini Moldorms here. We're resorting to bomb stress. He's down to 1 bomb. Let's see, maybe if he pulls something else out. Nope. He does get the...
At least nails that one. We'll get the book. And the glove. But no further bombs, so no way to check Ice for Cave right now.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't run all the way to Ice Cave and not realizing it, but uh-oh. Hopefully maybe just a fake flipper he's doing?
Maybe, but that isn't really there's not really that much to gain from there.
Well, I guess he does have the glove. There is a rock you can pick up. I believe it's a 50-50 shot at a bomb, so maybe he's hoping.
Yeah.
This rock, right? Oh, nope, he's gonna walk right by it. He's
No,
like, I don't have
isn't.
bombs, and he's gonna save and quit instead. But yeah, that rock right next to the stump, that does have a 50-50 shot of dropping a bomb, just kind of like the rocks in front of the middle rock, and the rocks in front of Link.
And looks like now both Daaanty and Xilo are going to pick up their Moon Pearl. And now Lumaga on the way to Ice Rod Cave. Does have those bombs, so we will get to see what's in there.
Yeah, I know Daaanty checked. I believe it was 50 rupees, if I'm not mistaken. So it's nothing huge, but it's gonna kind of weigh on your mind that you weren't able to check it. So when do you go back and make time to check it now?
Yeah. That was at 300 rupees, so
Okay, a little more than what I said.
it would have put Xilo on Zora money at that point, so
Yeah, it would have.
might have then maybe chosen to do a gamble here on pulling out the fake flipper, even if you are not able to check Waterfall Ferry without the Moon Pearl. But sometimes Zora has progression, and if you go there and the others leave it behind, because why would you really want to go over to Zora this early when it's only one check? Might get an advantage in a race there.
Yeah, and sometimes it might be a major advantage too. Oro looks like he's going to be our first one into the Dark World.
Sure is, and map check, we have the red crystals on Turtle Rock and Ice Palace. The green pendant is on Palace of Darkness, and the last pendant is on Misery Maya.
Yep, so now everybody in chat can start speculating on pedestal, things of that nature, what might be in the pyramid. I'm pretty sure, Verts, that it is Oro that is running the MSU. And Oro deciding to go into Skull Woods, no fire rust, so it's not going to be able to go and kill Mothula. That is one of the things with Swordless. The vines you normally have to slash to get back to Mothula, those are already open for you at this point. So just a fire rod is needed to get to Mothula now.
Without a sword that we would be able to grab, it would be pretty hard to slash that vines. So yeah, to make this work, those are already opened.
Yep, and I believe... Nope, this is not our first check, but yeah, nothing in the back of it.
And now one of the other things, if you rely on spin setups for your bomb jumps to get closest to the edge, without a sword that is rather problematic, so you have to rely on actual good movement.
So we got somebody in chat asking for Ice Rod Ped Seed, please. There are things that this game can do that are much, much more rude than Ice Rod.
And if you don't believe it, yeah, maybe you will stay tuned here. You might want to see what's happening.
Alright, Looks like Daaanty and Xilo are also going to be entering Dark World at the Village of Outcast Skull Woods area. So nobody actually, and then Lumaga is going to be doing it a little bit different. He's going to start at Hype Cave.
It is actually the play that I prefer to do. Just check out Hype Cave, get the map check in, and then decide from there if I want to dip Skull Woods early or not. I'll go finally up there.
Yeah, I like starting at Hype Cave if I have Hammer, just because, you know, with how Hype Cave has been, there's usually nothing in Hype Cave. But it is still 5 items that you can get very quickly from a save and quit at Link's house.
And sometimes there is actually something in there that can make your further wade through the seed much more easy.
Yeah, and we get a major item in the chess game. Get the Ether Medallion on Xilo Price's side, and Dante's going to be picking that up shortly himself.
On the other hand, Lumaga coming up empty after all in Hype Cave.
And Oro spies the Fire Rod on Bumper.
So I wonder where we find that cave that Xilo just pulled out of Sea House.
Yep, there is access to our Fire.
And that's now Skull Woods fully clearable at this point.
I was going to say Lumaga might be going a pod, but it looks like we're going to get a Pyramid. Let's check first and we'll see where he goes from there. Daaanty and Xilo both.
Deep Sound, the other crystal dungeon we can fully clear right now. We have the hammer, which is already a valid weapon to fight blind with, and also the weapon or the thing we need to check the big chest.
Yep, nothing on Pyramid Ledge. We'll see where Lumaga.
Looks like we will get to see at least the front of Palace of Darkness.
Yep, so no check on Catfish yet. Yeah, Lumaga going to be heading to Palace of Darkness, and we'll see how far he can get in with no bow. Does have a red potion, so if he wanted to potion glitch potentially, he could do that.
Yep, sure could do that. But skipping out on a possible early check of Catfish is always one of those things that can come back to hurt you, as Catfish is one of the most prominent locations to be left alone for quite a while. And if there's progression on there, that's one of the worst last locations you can find.
Definitely. So far, though, nothing really out of Thieves Town that I've seen.
No. Nothing valuable in the front. That'll check of pot to see if it's actually bow locked.
It is not bow locked. We get a second red potion in Thieves Town in the attic.
Definitely a welcome sight. Especially if you are not too experienced on the blind fight. Might not have this or full magic at this point. Because when you do not have a sword, you cannot really stay in that script that you usually learn for the fight. So you have to adapt and do this.
Yeah, I know some runners can't stay on script with the hammer, but it is definitely not as easy with the hammer as it is with the.
You really have to adapt to their timing. So you cannot just hold out the hammer. That's not how it works.
And there we get our ice rod.
So Turtle Rock being crystal, that one has to be found to finish the seed, and getting it rather early is always somewhat reassuring. It is probably the worst item to find for your go mode.
Just a compass in the big chest, so since they checked that, Blind is going to have an item himself. We'll see if it's useful or
Yeah.
looks like Lumaga is going to go for the potion glitch.
It worked. So this will ensure that Lumaga can at least grab 4 out of the 5 items that could be here in Palace of Darkness. So we will be able to get all the small keys we need. And here's the big key. So whatever would have been in, or whatever is in the big chest here in Palace of Darkness is actually hard bow locked. And that's just 20 rupees from Blind. Also the first crystal for both Daaanty and Xilo prize here in this Sorter Seed.
Yeah, and Oro's not going to be too far behind. Meanwhile, Lumaga is going to continue the trek through Bod to the back of it where all the goodies typically are. Usually we don't find too much in the front, just those keys. Kind of a nice pun by Blind. Do you think the ice rod is cool? Finding the ice rod in Blind's chest.
Yeah, that's something that was I didn't really notice playing this one myself. Yeah, actually fit in quote there. And Oro trying that hammer blind and gets it done. And didn't even look to have much problems.
Yeah, I know. And something interesting to note on this looks like it might be on both Daaanty and Xylo's routing. They both picked up the cape. Neither one of them. Oh, we'll see what Xilo does. Nope, he's gonna go down too. Neither one of them decided to go check Bumper Ledge, so they do not know about that fire rod.
Ooh. Will be interesting to see when they will actually come back, or are coming back for that. We will need that fire rod for both Skullwoods and Turtle Rock at some point.
Yeah, and in the meantime, while we were kind of watching boss fights and stuff like that, Lumaga picks up both the mirror and the lamp in the back of Pod.
So that's now not only logical access to the mountain, but also access to the east side of the mountain.
Yep, still need mitts to get to Dark Death Mountain. But yeah, that's a lot of checks up on Death Mountain now.
And important thing to note here, we had 3 small keys in the front, so the bag was not bow locked, so we could have gone there even without a bow.
Yep, this is completely accurate, and Oro's gonna be takes a little bit of a fall there, but I'm sure he's gonna go back up to go get the fire rod. He'll be the first runner with the fire rod.
Yeah, it's you can get up around that there, but it's not much space you have to work with, so I've seen many people fall there 1 or 2 times trying to get there through fast and being just a bit too hasty, and I believe that was our second spot where a sword would have been just now on Lumaga's screen.
It is, and something to note, maybe have to ask why he decided to, but Lumaga getting the mirror in Pod, and obviously he mirrors out. He went to check Sahasrahla. He did not go inside Eastern Palace though.
This is an interesting thing, but without a bow and Eastern Palace being a crystal, you might want to avoid going in there if you have other options, and with the whole mountain now having been opened up for Lumaga, I can see the reasoning behind that. You check Sahasrahla because you are already over there, but you might want to try and find a bow before you head into Eastern.
Yeah, that's true, and we'll see, because it looks like Lumaga's actually going to take all of his goodies. He's going to go to the Village of Outcasts himself now. And Daaanty is going to skip out on Pod. He's going to check Catfish first. We'll see if he decides to go to Pod afterwards. Xilo's going to check Pyramid Ledge. And Oro's going to head to the back of Skull Woods with that newly found. Also, to add into what Bert said in chat about the medallion usage, there are some locations inside of Ice Palace where you can just use the fire rod. Typically, there's going to be rooms that have freezors that require them to be killed to either open doors or...
Yeah, but outside of spots where the medallion signs are actually on the floor, you cannot use them. So we won't see much medallion usage at all in the seed.
Oh, and Daaanty, he's going to head to the eastern area. We'll see how he's going to route this.
Why Oro doing a very clean moth fight.
Yeah, I was like that. It was a very nice hammer moth.
I am a bit jealous here. My moth fight was a fight of about a minute, and half of that the mod just camped up in the spikes on the upper part of the screen.
I just threw fire rod shots at him. But Oro is our first runner with 2 crystals at this point with them.
Taking the lead here, not even half an hour into the seed. And looks like Daaanty intends to continue through to Eastern Palace.
Yep, that looks like what he'll do. So we'll see what Lumaga left behind then. And then we'll see if Daaanty does find anything important in Eastern Palace. You know, where's he going to go with it? Or will he decide to dip Pod? Because looks like Pod is definitely one of the big plays to make. That mirror is a major thing that gives us access to a lot of items.
Yep.
So getting a quick check. I missed what was there, but it looks like he made a quick check on what was on Lake Hylia Island.
Yeah, I actually didn't fully pay attention at that moment, so I missed it also. But we will have other opportunities to see, and that is the flute here in the first chest of Eastern Palace.
Yes, it is. So Lumaga skips out on the flute. Now, might not be needed. Misery Mire is a pendant.
And with the lamp already found, we have also logical access to the mountain, so there's nothing really right now that's opened up by the flute.
Nope, just Daaanty will kind of, like you said, it will give him mountain access to a little bit, but yeah, really not a whole lot other than that. But you combine it with other things, then that's where it becomes powerful. And then the travel time, so like Daaanty could easily make his way to Pod. It's a lot easier for him to get to Pod now with that flute.
Yeah. I'd imagine after Eastern Palace he will set and quit out of here and activate the flute as his next stop and go from there. If he wants to go to Pod, he can just flute back there as he has the hammer to use the portal.
Yeah, it looks like Oro's going to hit up Hype Cave, and Xilo's also, he's going to make the play into Eastern Palace. So he'll be picking up his flute in just a little bit. Looks like the big key is vanilla.
So, actually locked by that lamp. Whatever is in the big chest or might be on Armor's Knights would have logically required you to go into the Palace of Darkness first, grab the lamp out of the bag, then come here.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of the lamp and dark rooms and everything like that, you know, a lot of runners, the way they get through dark rooms is by using the sword to get that little sparkle at the tip of the sword to kind of know where you are, and you don't have a sword, so you can't do that. You have to find other ways to get through your dark rooms.
Luckily, our runners have quite a variety of items that you can use that for. Boomerangs are an option as they show up on the dark. You can use either of the rods projectiles or the canes, but those consume magic, so you have not too much of them. If you're desperate, you can place bombs and see where you move in compared to those.
Alright, Lumaga gets Ice Rod. Daaanty did save and quit after finishing Eastern, so he's not going to do Pod just yet. I'm sure he's going to go activate that flute, and we'll see where he goes.
The other hand, Lumaga on the way to collect crystal number 1 here. Pretty soon. Yeah, so half an hour in, and looks like next thing we are supposed to find is probably up on the mountain, but only Lumaga haven't much access to it right now.
Yeah, only one with that, still with that mirror and lamp. That's kind of the big difference between the two of them. He still doesn't have the fire rod, so that's Oro has that on everybody else, but right now I kind of definitely feel like the lamp, mirror are the big items.
Yeah, since we have seen Skullwoods coming up empty, and with our Titansmiths we cannot do Ice Palace right now, we would also need the flippers for those to be logically accessible. Yeah. Seems like that.
Oro fine.
Seems like that mirror is just that thing we should follow for now.
Yeah, and Oro kind of remembering about the back of escape when he forgot the bomb.
Yeah. Getting those out of your head is always a refreshing feeling, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. And those are quick checks that you know the other racers will make at some point, because they are so fast that you really cannot afford to gamble on those, because if there is progression in there, you basically just throw away the race.
Yeah, that's a heavy gamble to just skip those. And Oro's going to be our first one to check the... Maybe he's going to head into Desert with that book, but could be our first one to clear Desert Palace if it's...
Yeah, let's see if it is. And there's just money on the ledge, so maybe no need to grab that, as Oro has almost enough money to pay off Zora and Kiki. And looks like Daaanty is now in Skullwoods, still without the fire rod though.
Yep, he dove right in, so yeah, still missing that fire rod, which is sitting up on Bumper Cave Ledge. Xilo activating his flute, so we still have yet to see anybody actually go.
And Desert is boots locked.
Indeed, so yeah, we're not getting anything out of Desert then. This would be kind of one of those interesting plays where you could make the decision knowing that it's boots locked, so regardless of, you're going to need the boots to maybe go and steal the key just to get those items on the right side. Just maybe you get something big, but not going to do that.
Yeah, it is also one of the little bit more risky gambles, or it's quite a time investment for maybe 1 or 2 items.
Yeah, and Agina's cave just bombed, so nothing there. Xilo is walking out of Ice Rod Cave, so we very well may be seeing some fake flipper action on Xylo's side, which will be our first check in the Zora area if that's the case.
Yeah, without the flippers we have only 1 logical check up there right now, but yeah, we are rando players. What is logic really to us?
Okay, I lied. He's not doing that. Maybe he is. What is he doing? Oh, he's checking stun price? No.
Maybe, maybe not. Or maybe just setting up for the NMG way to set up that fake flipper. And being annoyed by that crab.
So he didn't check the hobo under the bridge though. He's going right to Zora.
Okay, that is interesting. Meanwhile, Daaanty actually spied his fire rod on the bumper ledge.
Yep.
Yes,
And
no. Is careful enough to not getting killed by a murdered Xilo there.
they have that name for a reason. They're good at murder.
They're very good at murdering. But we are on red lane. We are not that easy to murder. And just some bombs on the Zora ledge. So only Zora left here to maybe have some progression.
Alright, and Daaanty picks up fire rod. Second with the fire rod, and Lumaga is following kind of the mayor.
And Cyberprice almost got sniped by a Zora there on this way to King Zora. And let's see what we will get for 500 rupees. That are those Titans mids.
Zora is not a scam today.
Oh no, it's definitely not.
Just got some bombs on the tablet, and that's another thing. Since there's no swords, you just need the hammer and the book to do tablets.
Yeah, and since we got the hammer from the start, as soon as we got the book, we could check the items on the tablets and grab them.
And Xilo actually going to follow the Titansmiths. He's going to check the Misery Mire area.
Yeah, unfortunately, without the mirror, you cannot grab Checkerboard Cave, and you have no easy way into the back of Desert Palace here. And we find out that Quake Medallion is needed to enter into Misery Mire if we want to go in there. Since it's a pendant, it's hopefully not needed.
The Mire shed, though, doesn't look like it had anything useful.
It certainly had not. But Lumaga now on the East Death Mountain. There are 8 items to grab here and a check of Floating Island. So let's see what's here on the mountain, as there's maybe our progression here.
Yeah, maybe. Xilo yeah, he's heading back to Desert, so he's going to dip inside Desert, sees those 300 rupees. Unfortunately, he's going to be stopped quickly. No boots.
Yeah.
And one of our keys is up on that.
And unfortunately, Lumaga will not be able to check Super Bunny Cave, as he does not have those mids that we know are now or are already accessible.
Yep, and there down goes Montula for Daaanty. So he's our second runner with 2.
While Xilo getting the message, Desert is boots locked. And Arrow finishing up the trip through Eastern Palace now has the flute.
Alright, Daaanty does a save and quit, and we'll see where he is off to
On
next.
the other hand, Lumaga now in Paradox Cave. Let's check out our 7 items.
Yeah, almost feels like there has to be something here, but so far our first 2.
I mean, where else could the progression be? There's not much else left. You have the Super Bund Cave and have the Smith Chain, but that's basically it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, but those are both mids locked, and the only person with our mids right now is...
So what's up here? Bombs. More bombs. Blue rupee, heart piece, and 20 rupees, so nothing here.
Yeah, nothing whatsoever, so... Light Death Mountain, just not...
And I imagine Lumaga is now getting to one final check here up on the mountain. Is probably heading back all the way to Hera, maybe finish that one, and then go down and check Spike Cave.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to the items that he found in Hera, but I don't remember if both items were before Mini Moldor or before Moldor.
I'm not even sure Lumaga did too much of Hera.
Oh, he's not gonna check it. But he is gonna go check Spike Cave.
Meanwhile, Daaanty did make the trip over to Desert Palace. Probably now knows its boots locked. Xilo, on the other hand, into Skullwoods, also without the fire rod. And Lumaga now in Spike Cave without progression.
Yeah, 20 rupees. So yeah, almost feels like it has to be something Mitzlock then.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still Graveyard Legend K45 that we didn't see, which could have progression.
I want to say Lumaga checked K45 when he did the south route. I could be wrong, but I want to say he's checked K45. I don't believe any of the runners have been to Graveyard Ledge though.
Well, Lumaga being the only one with the mirror could have been the only one over there right now. But looks like Daaanty is heading over to Palace of Darkness right now, so he will grab his mirror soon, and well, Xilo has some fun with the Giddo, or maybe the Giddo is just having fun, bouncing back and forth there.
Yeah, you're right. With Daaanty gonna be picking up that lamp and mirror, but we kind of know right now so far, unless it's Graveyard Ledge, just by itself, what we found, nothing is kind of adding up to the pieces of the puzzle we need to combine all the pieces we have so far.
Well, Lumaga has actually shown us one more check that would be possible, and it is the Bombos tablet.
It is, and that is just some bombs. And actually, Oro's going to be doing that fake flip, getting us the Quake Medallion. So
Ooh.
That is our entry to Misery Mire. Can't do anything in there yet. We still either need Hookshot or Boots to get in there further. Plus, he would need mitts.
Yeah, so we know that Quake Medallion would be needed if we want to check out those two items that may be in Mire for us to grab. Well, Oro will going to get those mitts pretty soon.
So I'm going to pose a question to chat right now, and don't answer this if you've done this seed already. But we are very, very kind of low on location. So where do you think progression is going to be, and then what do you think progression is going to be? Again, if you've done the seed, no cheating, no saying where progression actually is.
Yeah, I would love to answer, but I have done it, so I actually know.
Yep, so do I. Or with the fake flippers, he is going to be our next one with Titan's Mets. He just has that added benefit since he did. Oh, and Xylo's going to be getting his fire rod shortly here, but he's going to have that added benefit since he also did Hobo. He got that Quake Medallion.
Lumaga gets a message that Desert is boots locked, so now all four forerunners, I believe, know that those boots will be needed at some point.
Yep, indeed. Daaanty also... Oh, Daaanty isn't going to do the... He doesn't do the potion glitch, he's going to do a mimic clip instead.
Yeah, fully allowed if you are able to do it. So, yeah.
Yep, even in tournaments.
Just showing off some skill here. And important thing about that is that one even works without a bottle, so knowing that relieves you of the fact you have to have a bottle to sequence break the bow here in pod.
And we're getting that information about Quake being required from Mr. Myers, so not sure if he's happy about having that Quake, but probably maybe not on his mind too much because he knows he needs to find flippers first. And actually, I forgot about this location as well. Xilo is checking hammer pegs.
On the other hand, Daaanty setting up for a hammer jump here. Looks like that one is good.
Kind of have to wonder, like, most of the racers, just their respective routes they've taken so far, a lot of them have gotten to the point where they've like last location some certain, major item or progression. And this is just a friendly casual race, so not really worried about potentially where you're placing. You're just trying to finish as quickly as possible. But if this was like a qualifier or a one-on-one race, how you would feel about your positioning currently?
Oh, I mean, I am personally one of those runners that tend to last locate on Zora, and it's one of the worst feelings when there's actually progression there, because there are some runners that get there rather early, and there are a few options to get there earlier, and it usually leads you on a pretty time-consuming hunt for the items before you get back there, so I would probably feel very bad right now.
Yeah, I wonder how Daaanty's going to feel about finding the lamp, because he just did the dark maze backwards, which, no, he's more than capable of doing that, but obviously if you find the lamp, you don't have to do the maze in the dark, especially with... We'll see. We'll see if he has any response for the chest that's coming up shortly. He does pick up his mirror, though.
And he mirrors before even grabbing his lamp. Ooh.
Which, I mean, it's not a huge...
But it's...
I wonder if... Oh, okay, he's not leaving. I think he realized, like, oh, crap, I have an extra key there, and with what he's checked at this point, he knows there is an item.
Yeah,
at that point.
I was about to say, leaving behind an item there at this point is actually somewhat risky. Because you are struggling for progression, and while the mirror opens up that mountain, we know that without those mids, there's nothing up there. So unfortunate little time loss for Daaanty here, but we'll at least get confirmation that mountain is now fully in logic.
There it is.
Having the lamp in the swordless seat for darkroom navigation is actually not that bad.
No, not a... And that is going to be Daaanty's play immediately to the mountain. And the wealth of treasures that are here, unfortunately, they probably will not be treasures that Daaanty wants.
So...
Oh, and we get a pedestal check, we get maximum health increase.
So, yeah. Maybe some reassurance for Lumaga to Misery Maya hopefully not being needed today, as we won't need to finish out the dungeon if Vitiris does not hold on to an item.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see this, and it looks like Aura's probably going to be making the play to... never mind, not quite yet. I was going to say maybe making the play to the pod, but it's kind of interesting to see how we've got, two runners, the major item they have that the others are missing are Titan's Myths, and then the other two runners who have that mirror, so it definitely feels like there's something maybe combined with mirror and myths. So super bunny cake.
Yeah. And yeah, also I already talked about having found or not finding the myths until now. You're probably not feeling good. when you finally find them, but on the same page, just finding that mirror that was actually pretty early on for you to take there, Daaanty might not feel too good actually right now.
No, is he basically last location, the mirror and the lamp, I believe. I don't think he really had anything else to check.
Well, there was Zora.
Yeah, other than Zora, which also, surprise, has progression.
Yeah.
And this is going to be kind of interesting to see what Xilo does, because he is out of magic. Is he going to be able to act? Oh, he gets bailed out by a small magic, so he is going to be able to open up Skull Woods. I was wondering, he might not be able to open Skull Woods up with his current magic. And speaking of a Fire Rod needing magic, Lumaga picks up his Fire Rod, so that's all 4 runners now with that Fire Rod.
Yep, and Lumaga now also on the way over to collect that second crystal. And Daaanty checking out the basement of, or the first floor of Hera, but noping out, so no check on the second item.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he'll come back, because you found the small key. So a small key in map, so there were no items found in Tower of Hera just yet.
Tower of Hera, Hera Palace. Yeah. Tower of Hera is a pendant, so we do not need to finish this dungeon if there is nothing in here. But
maybe progression though.
Yeah. Daaanty won't find anything here on the east side though. And on his way back, when he wants to check Spy Cave maybe, he will get close to Hera again, so just maybe checking out the upper parts.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because I think Lumaga made the same decision as Daaanty did, where he checked the first 2, saw the small key, was like, I can't Hera pot, I don't want to do this, so I'm leaving. And that's, 2 items that we're leaving behind that, who knows, like I said, that very well could be easy progression. That's right there, but obviously it's a pendant dungeon and you have to spend that minute plus to just go and get the big
and
key.
I can maybe disclose that, but I had basically made the same decisions there, checking the first 2 checks, noping out, checking the east side, but on my way back I actually went up the tower, because there was no progression on the east side.
I think I might have checked the first 2 and noped out and just stayed that way. I don't remember. I either did that or I just completely skipped Tower of Hera, saying I don't care. It's pendant, I don't want it. Yeah, 2 Mothula fights though, but Moth's not really cooperating on either one. This is already a difficult fight sometimes with a hammer, especially when you have no magic, makes it much, much more difficult. But Lumaga gets him down. And so does Xilo.
Yep.
So now all of our runners, as far as crystals at the very least, they are all tied up at 2 crystals apiece.
Yes, the moth fight without a sword actually is kind of annoying, because for the hammer you need the moth to cooperate somehow, and at least we had the half magic to use the fire rod. But that will take 8 hits.
Yep, and Oro turns in the smiths, doesn't find anything worthwhile, and this looks like probably going to grab the purple chest, I would.
I'd assume so, since we still need progression, and without the mirror, Oro has no way to get to the east side of Death Mountain right now. And I think, if I saw that correctly, Daaanty decided to leave behind. Oh no, he's maybe going back to Hera right now.
That looks like what he might be doing. It sure does. Yep, that's where he's going. Back into Hera.
Meanwhile, Zelprice over on the way to Palace of Darkness right now, so on the way to grab the mirror and to be the first person to have both mids and mirror.
Yeah, and I think Lumaga is giving us our first check at the graveyard ledge as well.
And maybe actually Lumaga will be the first to have mids and mirror, as from this way on, if you continue with an sequence break worth the jump per with the Bond jump or splash deletion fake flipper. You could check Catfish and then use the mirror to get up over to Zora.
That would be, I believe, Tempered Sword, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure we are correct on that.
I'm not sure what Purple Chest was, but I don't. If I remember correctly, Purple Chest wasn't any.
Nah.
There is our big key in the basement of Hera, and looks like Aura is going to be making his way into the Palace of Darkness as well. And I want to say this is actually last location for Aura, if I'm not.
Might be. I think Lumaga intended to just check, or maybe wanted to check Catfish now, but instead decided to get back to the Dark Cross maybe here, but...
I think he maybe wasn't sure about his items, and then goes in and checks and sees he's missing the map, so knows that is in Dark.
But yeah, Lumaga apparently a bit stumped about what to do now. Taking a few seconds to sort out what's happened so far.
Yeah, and this is actually interesting to see, because this is something that both of our runners that went into pod, they did not do this. They sequence broke the right side, bull-locked side of pod, either with a Mimic Clip or with a Potion Glitch. Xilo went right to the back.
So skipping out on the big key, and will not be able to get that, I believe, the heart piece in the big chest.
Yeah, which we know nothing in the actual maze is worthwhile, so maybe a little bit of a time save potentially, because he gets his mirror here. He has 2 keys, so we'll see what else he checks.
Well, common place to check. Found the subway first.
Down goes Moldorm for Daaanty. So yeah, nothing in Hera.
Yeah, and we have seen now, or if we have seen the purple chest, we have seen pretty much everything besides Super Bunny Cave, I believe.
I'm gonna have to say that's correct. I'm pretty sure that is. Okay. It's kind of interesting, all the different variations on routes between all the runners, and it's really going to come down to potentially last locationing Super Bunny Cave on 4 very different routes.
Yeah, but those routes had to incorporate the bag of Palace of Darkness without a bow to grab that mirror, and to get up to Zora without flippers.
Yeah,
grab those
definitely.
times. So let's see what Xilo decides to do, and that looks like we will be getting our mount check, and that will finally will give us a look at what's actually in Super Bunny Cave.
Yep, and Xilo gonna grab the old man, and Lumaga is gonna be getting his mitts. So Daaanty is gonna be the only one without mitts. And Oro did try to sequence break. I guess he had some issues with the potion camera unlock glitch. So he's going to be going to the back anyways with the keys he's found, but won't have the big key. Picking up a key, and now he has his mirror. So now all runners have the mirror. Looks like he's probably going to be grabbing his lamp and just... Yep, Xilo making his way up the mountain. There's the lamp for Oro. Xilo's gonna grab that piece of heart, which is gonna give him a full health refill. And Xilo hasn't actually been up here at all yet, so potentially a time save because he's only got to climb the mountain once compared to everybody else's at least twice.
It'll be interesting to see if he does decide to check here in Hera, and if he does, how much. So I probably, or I'd imagine that East Death Mountain here is actually rather tempted to go there pretty fast.
Yeah.
And Daaanty floating back down from the mountain. Probably going to check out Greater Ledge first.
That, or he might be thinking, I'm just going to check the pedals. I mean, I understand you're running out of locations, but it's not within, you know, he's going to go Dark World first, so we'll see. Yeah, might be Graveyard Ledge. Xilo is going to go in and grab the big key, so you got to assume he's going to clear Hera while he's here.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure if Daaanty has already done this myth chain. He can't. Yes, don't have the myth. Yeah.
Yep.
My English very good.
Still needs to make his way to Zora for those golden gauntlets, the Titan's mitts.
He will need those, and looks like that will be the last location, but this route will lead him there. Going over Graveyard Edge, and then probably shown us the current jump, or maybe I'm not sure if you can do a decent splash deletion with the Ice Rod.
Actually, Daaanty, I believe, has actually already been to Catfish, so I think after this he might potentially, if Zora's his only option, he might just end up fluting to.
True.
Because I want to say Daaanty was our first runner to do that, because he went Pyramid Ledge to Catfish.
I think you're right, actually, so yeah. Would probably make sense to just flute there, from there to 8, do the fake flipper, check hobo. So he would also get his Quake medallion.
Yep, he is going to flute. Lumaga's going to turn in that purple chest, and Daaanty is fluting to 8, so yep, this looks like a fake flipper. We'll see if he checks hobo as well for that Quake medallion. That's kind of the one thing that Oro still has over everybody as well, as that Quake medallion. Yeah, it looks like Dante's going to be grabbing it himself, though. Or maybe not.
Doing a look at Lake Hyde first.
Yep.
And now grabbing Quake.
And Oro is heading into the Dark World. He's going to open up the Turtle Rock portal. We'll see what Turtle Rock is required. This is our first check on what medallions required. That is Quake.
So that Quake absolutely hard required in this seed, and Oro's taking the opportunity and just opening up Turtle Rock. Can't do anything in there right now, but well, no need for magic to get up here the next time.
Yeah, not to mention you're going into Super Bunny Cave. There's a full magic jar right there. Anyway.
But that means now we will get to see what will be our progression. There has to be one item that will allow us to continue through this seed here. What will it be?
Let's find out.
Those
We've
are
got some
boots. Or
Super Bunny
flippers.
Cave. All your footwear in one place.
So, short resume. We had to go into the back of Palace of Darkness to grab our mirror and to go pay off Zora to get our mitts, to enable us to get up the mountain and grab boots and flippers from out of Super Bunny Cave. And in addition to that, we are then now able to grab the mushroom in Hookshot Cave in the Bonk chest.
Yes, indeed. And looks like Oro's gonna make he hasn't done Spiral Cave. So a nice little bit of routing there.
Yeah, haven't found Mids and Mirror before, gone up the mountain. Actually making this check up, or those checks up here. Really, really nice.
And speaking of mitts, Daaanty gets his mitts. All of our runners now having Titan's mitts. Lumaga going through Eastern Palace, so needs to kind of... He's probably running out of locations himself, so probably we'll see him be making the play back up.
And Daaanty haven't found those mids first, is now checking out the Maya area before heading back up the mountain. For Daaanty, there are already only 2 checks left on the mountain right now, so...
Yeah, which just makes sense on Daanty's side, just because mitts really didn't open up a lot for him, and this is the quicker of the 2 checks, plus you have mirrors, so it's a nice quick 2 checks. I find nothing, let me just flute and go check Super Bunny Cave at this point. Xilo turn.
Also, Daaanty has now the ability to check about cave.
That's true.
The 3rd item actually here.
Yeah, which I don't believe we have had a check on, if I'm not mistaken.
I might not remember if we had that, but let's see what's in here. It's just a heart piece.
Just piece of heart, and mushroom ended up just being 20.
So either those boots or those flippers are now our progression.
Yeah, boots makes you think Mire Dip, but then you also got the flippers, so you could be thinking Swamp Dip. Also boots, we know that Desert is boots locked. That is a crystal, so Desert's completable with the boots now.
So I'd imagine that's the first address we are going to take. Also, with those mids and those flippers, we now have access to Ice Palace. And while we have no Somaria and no hookshot, if we do it right, we can still fully clear it.
Which there is a potential Ice Palace is completable within logic, depending on key placement. There can't be a key on Cold Stare, and you would have to find one of the small keys in the first 2 chests for it to be non-hookshot locked in. And the key not on Cold Stare means that it would be Somaria locked if he does have a key.
Yeah, so I believe there has actually to be the right key, the big key on the right side, and then the small key on the left side for it to not be hookshot locked at all.
Yep. And Oro is going to be our first one into Desert Palace with the boots. So we're going to get some new information here. Looks like Xilo might be right behind him though.
And I mean, we actually have access to Swamp Palace, but without the hookshot, we actually have only access to half of it, and to the half we actually don't really want to do. So, really, Swamp Palace is not an attractive play right now.
Yeah, I mean, Desert Palace is definitely the most attractive play. It's a crystal dungeon you can complete at this point. But other than that, you're looking at an Ice Palace, and you don't have a sword, because I know a lot of runners, when it comes to their setups potentially with the Ice Palace bomb jump, they use their sword, and you don't have that.
So there are different setups for certain sprites. You can try to use your shadow to line up. Some people use certain sprites of their or certain pixels of their sprites. But yeah, the most commonly set up is using sword, and that's not something we can use today.
Looks like Daaanty is making his way back up the mountain.
So we'll finally be able to go fast and actually swim. On the other hand, Oro on the way to collect crystal number 3. And
yeah, so far nothing.
Yeah, but it has been quite a bit of time since the last crystal was collected, so yeah. Looked like a promising start, but it's a bit slowed down a bit here.
Yeah, definitely. And you even have to think that, you know, you're sitting at an hour and, you know, at this point, almost 8 minutes in, you only have 2 crystals. You're about to get your 3rd, and you're still a bow a hookshot, Samaria, and potentially, depending on if you can do Silverless Ganon with a hammer, which is not easy, you're still looking for potentially 4 items for Go mode, and you're at an hour 10 in. It's not a good.
Yeah, and since for at least 3 of our restraint runners, this is probably the first Sortless they've done, I'd assume silvers are something you actually have to grab for Go mode. Because, I mean, I believe the window you have to do a silverless Ganon hit is, I think, 2 frames to hit
Yeah.
with the hammer.
Yeah, I want to say it's 1 or 2 frames, and with the hammer, it's not a spin where you kind of get that leeway. We get some powder off of the Landmolas, but yeah, it is not a very friendly fight at that point, because the hammer hitbox by itself is bad, but then you have to factor in the fact you have to do like 1 or 2 frame hits. It's not happy.
Yeah, and even if you do that, you do not have to do it 1 time, you do not have to do it 2 times, you do have to do it 24 times. So, yeah, I don't see many people do that or even attempt to do it. The most commonly play you see at that point is you do get up to the 4th phase, get that silver synth, and bail out and go grab your silvers, because that's most of the time actually saving you more time than trying it.
I was wondering if this is going to happen, Daaanty. We're going to see some hovering from Daaanty, or never mind, we're going to see a pug falling.
Oh, we maybe get one more chance. Oh, we might get a few more chances here actually.
And Oro is actually going to be he's going to make the play into the mire. He's at least going to open it up. I'm sure he's going to head into it, and we'll see what we find inside the mire.
I mean, those boots actually opening up those 2 items in Maya. You got the Quake Medallion to get into Maya, so maybe Oro is actually reading some signs here that there might be something hidden in here.
Maybe 2 items. There might be an item on Vitreous. You might only find 1 item in here.
Yeah. But there also might just be the Cane of Samaria being here in Misery Maya itself, and then we would have to go in here and could still finish the dungeon. On the other hand, Xilo is taken the other way and is going to Ice Palace here.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. It is a crystal dungeon that, maybe you can't clear it within logic, but if you know your bomb jumps and everything, you can clear this, so it's still not a bad idea.
Yeah, and there are at least 3 or 4 checks always in logic here as soon as you have access, with the first chest here and Pengaters. Which Xilo decides to try take on with the hammer. Does look kinda okay. You have a few options to fight those, including bombs, which kill Pengaters with 1 hit, but actually be able to hit them is not that easy.
And Lumaga takes down Moldorm for his first pendant, but we know that pendants themselves are not required, and that piece of heart definitely is not.
Small key firelocked in Misery Maya. We know the big key is actually now in its vulnerable position. That's something you can learn from key logic in Misery Maya. Firelocked small key always has to have a firelocked big key.
Yep, and we get a check on Aga. I believe we saw that earlier, but in case you weren't here for it, Aga's just 20 rupees, so no Aga won today.
Got the big key in the first chest here in Ice, and now Xilo is attempting that Sortless Ice Palace bomb jump. Let's see how he fares. A little bit too deep.
Next chest for Oro in Misery Mire contains our hookshot.
Oh, this is just hookshot and pendant Misery Mire locked behind those boots. We had this already awful chain of locations to get through there. Ugh. But that's only one item here in Mire. Let's see if we can grab a second.
Yeah, and Xilo does get that first bomb jump.
And this now enables him to finish Ice Palace regardless of key logic, if he is able to do a second bomb jump over on the hookshot locked side.
And this is actually hooked. So with no keys in the first two chests, this is a hookshot locked dungeon now.
Is it though? I think Ice-T is just still a place where a small key actually could be logically, but to not be hookshot.
It might be. I could have sworn it was the first two chests, because once you get the Ice-T key, there's a bunch of doors you can open up before.
Without the big key on the left side, you are not able to spend your small keys in a way that would lock you out of the hookshot locked side in logic.
Let's see if Xilo can get the second bomb jump.
No, not on this first attempt.
Oh, thought he had it there. Got a couple more tries.
This one should be good. Oh, okay. Yeah, but
This is the last try.
I personally use a different setup, so I can't say much about it. And nope, Xilo's locked out of here.
Yeah, I do a different setup as well. I set up where I'm facing upward.
I'm using a setup all as close to the block there as possible. Just go furthest, go to the last pixel you can stand on. Just target that block, place the bomb, and you should get over. Granted, it's much easier with a sword spin to set that one up, but yeah. No way to do that here.
Yep, and Xilo gonna grab some bombs. Is he gonna go back in and try again, or is he gonna head somewhere else?
Looks like the second.
He's leaving.
Oro now taking that just found hookshot over to Swamp Palace. Now fully clearable, it is a crystal. I'd say that's probably the right thing to do here right now.
Yeah, full clearable crystal dungeon, definitely. And 6
First one being just some bombs. Getting a refund for the one you spent to get to this chest. And it looks like Xilo's actually doing the same play but without the hookshot. Following Oro into Swamp, and Daaanty may be right up on the fields.
Yeah, I feel like that's what Daanty's doing as well, because there's really no other reason for Daaanty to come.
So we have 3 players in Swamp right now, but only one of those actually has the hookshot. So yeah, this might end pretty bad for Daaanty and Xilo here. Lumaga about to finish Desert Palace.
Alright, and down go the Landmolus for Lumaga. Gets his powder. Now everybody is up 2.
Oro just getting the Swamp big key, so we'll be able to check the big chest to grab that heart piece, and is going to the back instantly.
Left side skip. So this will be interesting because more than likely we are going to see what's on left side by Xilo and Daaanty first. It'll be even more interesting to see if Oro decides to skip left side swamp.
I mean, I certainly like the way Oro tackled Swamp Palace here, since it is a crystal. You will have to do debug at some point, so why not do this first and hope there's some progression on the way, and if there's not, you then can still decide to go back for the Swamp Palace and won't have lost that much time.
That's 400 rupees. Also, chat, if you have not seen Slideshow Boss, get ready because you're about to see the Slideshow Boss on Argus, because with no word, you have to do menu strats. There is no other option. And that is a map, so we are definitely finding at least one item on the left side.
Yeah, but good old menu fight. Part of Thwartless when you have to kill Argus. So this is actually something where having a tracker that actually depicts your inventory items mirrored to or shown your tracker where your items are in the menu actually can help you to know how to menu through each time to save as much time as possible. Because as we see here, with the Bombos medallion missing, menuing from the hookshot down and then left to the hammer, and from the hammer right to the flute and then up to hookshot is one step or one fewer step than mirroring over boomerang and ice roll. So each mirror will actually save you a few frames there, or at each menu.
Well, you could actually go hookshot boomerang hammer. You would just have to go up because it would wrap around. So, but yeah, if you would go boomerang and then go down, yes, it would be one extra step.
Actually, you're right with the Samaria being missing, but yeah. For exactly those reasons, when you have a tracker where you can actually look at it beforehand, so you immediately know when heading into the fight. Those are some rather minuscule time saves, but those can add up over a race. So being able to save maybe 30 seconds over a seed there can actually make the difference in a race.
And Oro is our first runner with crystal number 4. That is a compass. So we have 2 items on left side swamp. So I really do not see Oro skipping this, especially considering he found nothing here. Unless he wants to head to Ice Palace now, but still skipping on 2 items. When one of them is the Cane of Samaria.
You do not want to do that. Skipping 2 items already is bad. Skipping the progression items on top of item on top of it at this point is just careless.
So, interesting scenario now for Daaanty and Xilo, because we know where hookshot is. It's in Misery Mire. They have the option when they find that hookshot, because that's the only item. That means Vitreous does hold the second item. Do you finish Misery Mire while you are there?
I'll be honest, never. At this point, you have the knowledge about Quake, opening up Turtle Rock. With Mimicave, that's 6 items up there. Surely there's a bow up there. And
Actually,
I'm not.
Looks like that's where Daanty's going immediately is to Turtle Rock.
Yeah. I mean, for Daaanty, they could also just be the hookshot up there. So I am really in favor of this play. But yeah, Vitreous has only 1 item, and I have not done much Thoughtless Seeds yet, but yeah, you do not really want to fight Vitreous without a bow if you can avoid it, because having to do that fight with only the hammer is a pain.
I mean, you do have bombs, and it wouldn't be a terrible idea to maybe even go to the Waterfall Ferry, kind of like Xilo did just to get his bombs back. But to go get some bomb increases, because it's still a painful fight, but having a lot of bombs makes that fight much more.
Yeah, but still, for the second phase at least. I mean, the first phase, okay, with bombs and hammer, it's maybe not too terrible, but for the second phase, if you are not experienced with it, you really want to have your bow, as it just makes that phase fight so much smoother. And yeah, since we do not need to finish Mire for Crystal, I will leave there every time.
Especially depending on, I forget which, I think it's only been one runner that has checked the pedestal, but he knows that the pendant at the end of Misery Mire, since it's not the green pendant, isn't. Oro does get Kane of Samar. Looks like Lumaga is going to be making his way into Swamp as well at this point.
It certainly looks like it. Without your shot, we'll also be able to get the Cane of Samaria, but not the Crystal.
Okay. Our restreamer Amarith letting us know, keeping us honest. Lumaga was the only runner so far to check. And Daaanty has to do this the slow way with no hookshot. I think Oro is going to be checking the powder just like Xilo did.
Yeah, unfortunately there was not nothing too interesting on there, not really worthwhile. This Daaanty is going through Turtle Rock here.
Yep, for the question in chat, the pedestal was just a hard container. Not even the good heart container, because we already found the Sanctuary Heart that was in scope. Oh, Daaanty getting hurt quite a bit by those chain chomps on the 2 hard.
But he's got through, and with the powder he can now just use that, powder some anti-fairies, and heal back up. Also with the bugnet found, if you really wanted and have empty bottles, you could even store both fairies in a bottle. And in the Swordless Seed, especially if you're not really well versed in Swordless, that's not the worst thing to do.
So yeah, and Oro opting not to go to Turtle Rock, he does have only one of our runners with the hook shot. Lumaga's about to get Samaria in Swamp Palace, but he's going to head to Ice Palace. This is fully completable for him and fully within logic, regardless of how the keys would have been laid out.
Yeah, for Oro there is still the option of there possibly being a bow here in Ice, so he could finish out Eastern Palace and then head up to Turtle Rock and be done with this seed.
Those Pangate is just giving Oro the business. Xilo making his decision. Where does he want to go? Kind of sitting there thinking on the map. Looks like he's gonna make the trip back to Ice Palace, it looks like.
That looks what he is going to do. Nope.
Oh, nope.
Doing Hobo. He does not have the Quake Medallion yet, so he wouldn't be able to go into Mire.
That is true. I wonder if maybe that Quake Medallion will push him to Mire.
And
did you see what was in Mimicate?
that was our last green 20, so we would now be on Buttersword. We went to all of those 4 locations. Yeah.
Oh, I think a very nice quick setup on that Ice Palace bomb jump with no.
Ooh, very nice.
And yeah, Xilo does get Quake. He's fluting away, so he's definitely not thinking ice. Is he thinking Mire? No.
Turtle
He
Rock
is thinking turtle.
open as well, so can't blame him there. 6 items to grab. I definitely see the pull.
Yeah, I do too. But yeah, as far as Daaanty being in there, we haven't seen anything of value, but I think it's mostly been keys as well. So we're about to hit Laser Bridge, where there's probably a wealth of. Is it a bow though? Is the question.
Yeah, I mean, how many bows were there on Laser Bridge? There has to be one there. I mean, where else could it be?
I mean, one of the bows could be in GT.
True. But one bow has to be somewhere accessible if we need to finish out Eastern Palace and... Oh! Yeah, without a sword, we can unfortunately not really dash past that mini hammer sword there. And that's a heart container. That's not what we're looking for. 50 rupees, still not what we're looking for. 10 arrows, and I start to get concerned. We need to get a small key here and have one more item for Trinix, but where is our bow?
I'm not sure, and as far as what we've seen on Oro's side, I have not seen a bow or anything worthwhile out of Ice Palace. So I don't think this is the answer for the bow either. Still a couple checks though, and Lumaga's gonna follow him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have an item left on Cold Stare at this point.
We'll see what else he's checked, because I saw we are missing the map, which there is the map. So yeah, I believe there is an item. Maybe Ice Tea. I don't think Oro's checked Ice Tea room. I think we're about to see that right now.
Yep.
Daaanty on Trinix fight. One head already down. That ice head is almost dead. There it's going. So now it's just the main neck of Trinix.
Yeah, this Trinix fight actually isn't something yet that you never do. Many runners actually prefer doing Hammer Trinix over doing Master Sword Trinix. So being swordless here...
It is typically faster.
Yeah. Being swordless here isn't really much of a change.
But down goes Trinix, so that is going to be crystal number 4 for Daaanty, who draws even with Oro, just some different crystals, but Oro's about to get another crystal himself here in Ice Palace.
And Turtle Rock was absolutely empty.
Yeah, and I think Daaanty is thinking about going back to Hookshot Cave and giving those hovers another try.
We know that would actually be, or those items would actually be in logic. We have found the Hookshot. So possibly a bow here. And Oro did show us the item in the big chest, being just 20 rupees, and will show us Cold Stare now.
Almost had it, but down goes the ice, protecting Cold Stare.
This is the fight to really make use of that half magic you got on the start of the seed.
Yep. Because Cold Stare, even on red mail, Cold Stare still hits like a truck. That's it. Down goes Puff number 3 for Oro's crystal number 5 and a key. So this was a Samaria locked dungeon.
And still no bow.
And Daaanty decides to give up on the hovers. Where is he off to now? Looks like Ice Palace for him as well.
Yeah.
Which this does make sense logically. He's going to find out logically that it was Hookshot locked, I believe, as well as Samaria locked. But it will give him both of his 5/6 crystals.
Yeah, and still, while the hookshot may not be able to be here, the bow always could be just locked behind that hookshot that is somewhere else.
Yeah, which we know at this point the bow is not, but Daaanty does not know that.
Ooh, and very nice setup from Daaanty there with bombs. Unfortunately, just missing one of the 10 gators.
Yeah, I think Oro is going to check Lumberjack, because Dante's checked Lumberjack, but I don't think many of the other runners have checked Lumberjack yet. But now, right now, realistically, actually no, not realistically, all we're actually looking for at least Ganon's tower mode is a bow.
Yeah, probably all of our runners, maybe aside from Daaanty, but even then I think Daaanty at this point would probably rather search for those silvers.
Yep.
They will be needed. You see Lumaga trying on the hookshot side bomb jump and not on this try.
No, he's not going to bomb jump, he'll just hover.
You were looking at Daaanty, I was looking at Lumaga.
Oh. Yeah, Lumaga's doing this bomb jump. Ooh. Yep, Lumaga's gonna say no, but done.
So, or now on Graveyard Edge. We'll see sword number 3 here. Daaanty gets the big 20 from the big chest. Should be able to infer pretty soon that the hookshot won't be here. The other hand, Xilo now getting the answer that Laser Bridge is not the answer today. It is in so many seeds, but not in this one.
Yeah, I think Lumaga is on his way to Turtle Rock as well now, so we're going to see both Oro and Lumaga in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, still Oro the only one actually having a hookshot right now. So has an advantage over all 3 other runners.
Yeah, I definitely have to say if you have to pick one of the 4 runners, and I believe there is a 5th, maybe a 6th runner, if I'm not mistaken, running this. But of the 4 runners that are actually being restreamed at the moment right now, I would say Oro is the one that kind of has the edge because of that hook shot.
Yeah, I am in that SRL room and I can confirm there are 6 runners actually running. In addition to our 4 restreamed runners, we have Sailor Nap or the SRL handle SAGTG and the Diddy Gamers. Those being the 2 off-stream participants trying their best at deciphering this seed. I wonder if any of those 2 has found a bow by now.
I don't know, but I know we're getting some new information from Oro with that hook shot on Hookshot K. What was Daaanty trying to hover for? 10 arrows and 25 rupees.
So still no bow. Where the hell is that?
Well, I'm trying to think. We've seen all of Swamp.
We've seen all of ice. And Turtle Rock is empty.
So if it's not locked behind the hook shot, I think it has to be Vitreous. just going off what we've seen, unless there's something that else has been on, I guess it could be on the Pyramid Fury. So I think Pyramid Fury or Vitreous are our only options for our first bow, at least.
Oh god. I mean, Daaanty is probably trying that Pyramid Fairy now.
That does definitely seem like what Daaanty.
I mean, the seed was kind of telling you to go finish out Turtle Rock. But you did not get anything out of it, so maybe just after Turtle Rock with that red crystal. I mean, Daaanty could know that the hookshot won't be there on freezing out from the Ice Palace key logic.
Dante's already been inside of Swamp Palace. He's gotten his Cane of Smart. He's cleared that as much as possible.
And we have seen the back of Swamp Palace from Oro, so no,
there is no bow.
So yeah, it's basically down to, I believe, those two checks on Pyramid Fairy and Vitreous. Having our first bow.
It's not even so much of that we're in bow mode. We're in like double bow mode because we really have to find 2 bows more than likely to complete this seed, and we're at about an hour and 40.
And have no bow. So, chest 1, 3 bones. Chest 2, no bow.
That is a lack of bow, so I'm fairly certain that this is a Vitreous.
Yeah, I do not think we have any other option left. And I mean, of course, Daaanty now still has the hookshot in Misery Maya that we know of is there. And he might be pulled by that towards Swamp Palace to finish that first, but yeah, I think there has to be a bow on Pendant Vitreous.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that nobody's checked that's just kind of like an outstanding overworld location, but I'm pretty sure that the only option we have is Vitreous, and this will be interesting to see because, you know, we're gonna find Hookshot, and I'm sure depending on his routing, he'll check at least the rest of the items inside of kind of the main part of Misery Mire before going back for Vitreous. But that decision, do you go back? Because Hookshot gives him back of Swamp Palace as well as Hookshot Cave, and Hookshot Cave is probably on his mind quite a bit since he's tried to hover it at least twice and failed, unfortunately. And if he's thinking, you know, that would have been something he had an advantage on in this race, is because pretty sure of the runners, he's the only one that can hover it. You know, typically very reliable.
Yeah, I'd say he's the only one that can hover consistently. I know since there has been an episode and then a corresponding seed about hovering and learning it, and I know a few of those people actually being in this race completed that seed, so they have pulled off the hover that they would be able to, but not consistently.
But yeah, well, we're kind of, you know, basically seeing things that we've seen everywhere else right now. We got a nice little shout out from Amarith about the Go Mode podcast, who, you know, that's what this channel's named after. It's a nice podcast. If you have any questions about randomizer, things like that, it is a very nice podcast to listen to. They go over a bunch of information. They have a bi-weekly episode. The hosts are amazing. It's a fun podcast to listen to.
And they are always inviting guests out of the random community, well-known persons, and yeah, experts on their specific topic. Persons like P-Train talking about hovering and going into every little intricate detail you could go in there. Then we had Aryov talking about boss fights and optimal strategies and such. So yeah, even Vitorp, one of the if not the developer of Rendo currently. So yeah, it is a really nice place to get some information about pretty much every aspect of Rendo. So yeah.
Alright, but kind of back to the racers. Daaanty's still looking for some items. Xilo's making his way through Ice Palace again. Still missing that hookshot, so he's going to have to have another go at the bomb jump. And Oro and Lumaga both in Turtle Rock.
Both done with Laser Bridge. On to fight Trinex. Fight Trinex.
Alright, and there Daaanty gets his hookshot, so he's going to continue on, at least check these two items on the right side, which this makes sense. You don't want to just leave after you find that one major item when you got two typically quick chests that you can check.
Yeah. There's a second item here. You wanna find that bow. And there's only the bag of swamp, Hookshot Cave, and the last item left here. The only other thing that we didn't see between all of our forerunners is Helpers for King, I believe, and that one is hard bowler.
Yep, we still need a bow, and no item. Daaanty he's going to Vidi.
He is going to Vidi, so if he pulls off that fight, will be getting his bow, and he will need that.
So I definitely want to say, I'm 99% sure Vitrius has a bow, based off what we've seen on this seed right now. But if that is the case, and Vitrius has the bow, I would say that kind of pushes Daaanty into the front at that point.
Definitely. So he might still be in back of Swamp Palace behind at this point compared to Oro, but Oro will have to finish out Misery Maya first.
And I'd almost say that's almost an identical time, if not maybe Swamp Palace being a little bit shorter, other than the fact that you have to do the menu boss, but then again, Vitrius at this point you're gonna have to do with hammer only, and as Amherst pointed out in chat, that is 6 hammer hits per eye.
Yeah, and then another 16 on the big eye in the second phase, so this is not an easy fight, and granted, we are on 14 hearts red mail, but still, each hit of Vitrius does take at least 2 if not 3 hearts out of you, so you can take too much.
Yes, indeed. Lumaga takes down Trinex. Oro also takes down Trinex. So Oro has 6 crystals now. Our only runner with 6. Lumaga has 4. Xilo also has 4, and Daaanty is sitting at 5.
So let's see how this will go.
Daaanty pulling out a red poke.
And now switching up a little bit, throwing a few bombs. This is a nice way of getting multiple hits on those eyes, softening them up before start hammering at them, because the fewer eyes they're actually there to hunt you, the easier this phase gets.
Yeah, you still kind of have to hug the side walls, because the more eyes you take down, faster Vitrius starts shooting his lightning and everything like that. But yeah, then you have less eyeballs coming at you at any given time, and it becomes...
And Daaanty down to 4 of the small eyes. Down to 3.
Lumaga also entering Misery Mire now.
Oh,
Daaanty has to be careful. I don't know if he has another...
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Down go all the small eyes. Now he's just got to take care of the big eye without getting hit.
Yeah, and if he had a safety, probably he would pull it out pretty now. Thing about this second phase, if you manage it, you can actually lock the big eye somewhat good into a corner there to get multiple fast hits on it.
Yeah, I think with the 2 hearts, you want to be safe because if you mess that up, you have a very good chance of getting hit. And there is the
Daaanty gets it done on those 2 hearts he had left, and is the first runner out of our 4-3 stream that actually has a bow in his inventory. So it's now in at least GT mode.
Yep. At least in GT mode.
Lumaga, meanwhile, also entered Misery Mire on the way to find that hookshot. Big question will be, will Lumaga decide to follow Daaanty and try that fight?
Yeah. And realistically, looking at what we have left, because we've checked pretty much everything in this game, the chance of silvers being in Ganon's Tower is very, very high at this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I think the only thing that left not checked between our runners is Helmasaur King, which has the green pennant, so that are 2 checks, and then there are 27 checks in GT of those. Or there's 1 big key and 4 small keys, the map and the compass, and then there's what makes that 19, 20 items, of which only 1 has to be the silvers.
Yeah, Spike K has been checked, I believe, by multiple runners. I want to say it was just either 20 rupees or 10 arrows. Nothing important.
Yeah, we had at least 2 runners go to Spike Cave at different times. But
yeah, and at this point, I expect to see Daaanty go, obviously in Swamp Palace. After this, probably go to Eastern Palace, finish that, and then immediately go to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you do, you have to find the GT big key still, and silvers might just be on the way.
Which, yeah, like we said, kind of looking at what we have left, the best chance you have of finding silvers is in GT. It's just a question of how much do you check in GT. If you find like an early big key, something like that, do you go and just full clear the basement anyways looking for silvers? Do you just climb hoping you find silvers? How do you go about that?
Yeah, because as we mentioned already pretty early on, there's also the option to just do the Ganon fight up to the 4th phase and get that silver cent, so you get at least in general area where the silvers have to be.
That is also true.
So if you get an early big key, maybe just do the climb. Get the information if the silvers are not in the climb.
Or even, that like chat's pointing out, just do hammer silverless. It's free.
Oh, if you can do it, might just as well.
Yes, Ped was checked. It is a heart container.
Still only by 1 person so far. I do not remember haven't seen a Ped check since.
Nope, Lumaga was still the only one to check Ped. Which realistically, I mean, the only thing you're looking at for all the runners at this point, except Xilo, he's still missing Hookshot, but he'll find it shortly. You're really only looking for silver arrows at this point. Oh, Lumaga. So chat pointing out Lumaga bailed out of Misery Mire.
I certainly do not blame anyone for that.
No, I don't, definitely. I mean, yeah, it doesn't open up a lot, but when you look at, the back of Swamp, Hookshot Cave, it's a lot. And then even for him, Ice Palace opens up too.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, and I wanna say for Oro, this is last location. I don't think Oro has anywhere else at this point. He knows he's.
Yeah, I am pretty sure about that. But
yeah, and down goes Argus for Daaanty. That is crystal number 6.
So here's already the first big decision point. Do we only do Eastern, or do you actually search for the silvers on Helmasaur King while you're in the area? Helmasaur King has an item, and there's the green pendant.
I would say, like, it's weird. Like, if it's a one-on-one race and you've made all these decisions, it's hard because, you know, like, the way this seed is just played out, it's hard to imagine, like, your opponent Galaxy Brained or God Routed this seed the way it has been. But if you feel like you're genuinely extremely far behind, where you need to make some kind of crazy gamble to put you in the lead, to where you basically can try to almost skip as much of GT as possible, then you go to Helmasaur King and just pray that either silvers are on Helmasaur King himself or on the green pendant. But if you feel like you're ahead or it's even, then you just go to GT at this point after finishing Eastern Palace.
So Daaanty, not having entered the Dark World just now, is probably just intending to finish Eastern and then head up to GT.
Yeah, we'll see. More than likely, that's what he's planning.
Oro is on the way to Viltrius, doing a spooky action glitch. Nice to see. Yeah, unfortunately missing the hit on the torch, but getting it on the second attempt.
Alright, yep. Now it is Oro's turn for Vitreous.
Meanwhile, Xilo Price, will he bail? He bails.
Yep, Xilo also bails after finding Hookshot. Again, can't really blame them. Daaanty kind of Galaxy Brained this idea of let me just do Vitreous while I'm here.
Yeah, and I mean, even with the bailing fails and actually Vitreous is the right thing to do here, at least you have the chance to do a restock beforehand, even stock up on some bombs, as we have seen.
Yeah, and Oro's Fire Rod, Ice Rod, anything, please help me with these eyeballs. It's like, yeah, sadly not a lot does actually damage the eyeballs. Pretty much you've got sword, bow, hammer, and that's the extent of your damage. But get a nice quick kill from Daaanty on Armos Knights, and that is our first runner with crystal number 7.
So Daaanty will be the first one to actually head up to GT and enter it, and yeah, I mean, this is a bi-weekly seed, so few of our people that are watching probably have already done it and know where the big key is, but for those who don't, yeah,
big key guessing game time.
you can do it.
Alright, Oro takes on all the small little...
And now only to the second phase.
Yeah, and if you have done the bi-weekly seed and you've seen this already, don't... Yep, and Oro takes down Vitreous.
Very nice.
And is gonna be... There's my bow. Just stares at it. Looks at it. It's like, really? Why? Could I have had this, like, 2 minutes ago?
Yeah.
That's true. They might route it differently than what you did, even though you know what chest it's in. We'll see how Daaanty decides to route it. And again, for everybody who's either just joining or something like this, the only items that were pre-positioned were the hammer, half magic, some heart containers in Kakariko, the Uncle Bombs in Lost Woods, and then both mail upgrades in Kakariko Village. Everything else was randomized.
So to reiterate, the mids on Zora randomized, the mirror and the lamp in Bag of Thought randomized, the boots and flippers in Super Bunny Cave randomized, the hookshot in Misery Maya randomized, the Skein of Samaria on left side swamp randomized, And we are still missing the second bow.
I was really wondering because Oro there for a second, like he went Dark World first. I thought maybe he was gonna actually try that Pod Eastern combo and pray that Silvers were there, but he didn't.
Daaanty starting out on the right side of GT. And will be
Yeah, GFE.
rewarded with key
Yep.
number 1 and a small key just right next to it. So, in Daaanty's position. Oh, he goes left, checks the torch.
He's probably checking torch. He might full clear basement. He's at this point he might be looking for Silvers. And like I said, the chances of Silvers being in the basement of GT is extremely high. But let's see. As far as GFE's comment, Daaanty did try to hover hookshot cave at least 2 times, and he just could not get the hover. But Oro is, with that bow, he is going to be clearing out the Armos Knights and getting crystal number 7 for him.
In the meantime, we have Lumaga bind the bomb upgrade to be sure here to do Ice Blast bomb jump. But maybe also in preparation for the worst case of having to do the Bolas Vitreous. Xilo finishing out the menu fight. And looks like Daaanty only checked the easy chests in the basement, in the starfish room, and then decided to start the climb.
Yes, indeed.
Which I think is a reasonable trade-off to do. Do the quick checks, start the climb, and if it's not on there, rely on the silver synth. So if it actually is in GT, you can then go back there and do the slow checks. And if it's not in there, you will still have saved quite a lot of time. That is crystal number 5 for Xilo Price. Finishing out Argus. As Oro just picks up crystal number 7 and will be also heading up to GT pretty soon.
I mean, Daaanty also might be going off the fact that he checked very quick checks, and right now the plan is he is just going to go completely based off of the hint Ganon gives him about where silvers are, and then just go and immediately grab.
Was down to just 1 heart in the gauntlet, but with having the powder, we can actually do a nice refill here before doing Landmo 2.
Yep, and Xilo, I think he knows what we already know. Oh, nope, he's going back into Ice Palace first. He's going to clear this out now that he has his hook shot. But I think maybe he might be thinking about that Vitreous fight because he picked up to 20 bombs.
Yeah, you grasp at every last possibility to maybe prevent it, but I think at this point you have a really great inkling about what's going to happen here. Because you have also access to the, or you can also see the Hex chat and, or the IC chat, and if there was an easy bow in here, you would have probably seen a few finishes at this point already. So at this point in time, you're 2 hours in, maybe there's not even a finisher yet, so you get to start thinking, maybe this is actually the worst possible option after all.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Aurora is now entering the Ganon's tower. Let's see how much Arrow decides to clear in here and search for those silvers. Starting on the left side.
Yep, so I think if this is the case, unless he's doing Dark Magician strats, he's probably going to go full left, so he will find a very late key if that's the case, but maybe he'll be rewarded with some nice shiny silver arrows.
Daaanty clearing out the climb. This makes fully sense, because leaving behind those two chests, or those 4 chests, those are the most annoying ones to get back to in here. We do not want to declimb again. Shoutouts to that key actually being up here for once.
Yeah, considering he was killing Stealthos, though, he is definitely not thinking Dark Magician strats.
Yeah, so this will be Render Rush at least, maybe all the way to down to Ice Armors, and by that point, I'd imagine you would just finish out GT.
Yeah, and Chat brings up kind of a good point as well. Oro has no bombs.
Ooh.
If he doesn't find some bombs, like now, he's gonna have to skip Rando Room.
I totally missed that, but yeah, that is going to happen, because I think he's out of chances to find bombs. Ah no, there's one more chest. But if my memory serves me right, I think that was just a small key.
I'm not sure, but I guess, yeah, he used 2 bombs to display his displeasure of the bow location, so I guess this is Revenge of the Bow, like it really needed it, because there are no bombs, so he's gonna just mirror.
And this will lead him to his big key, but at this point he has basically done half of the basement, and you still need silvers. Might just do the other half. In the meantime, Daaanty just finished out Aga 2.
Yes, indeed, and looks like he's gonna go right side, and we're gonna see that. Maybe some Tide Room as well, but we'll see if Tide Room is first. Nope, we're sprinting across. So let's see what Daaanty decides to do. Is he gonna go for the bow somewhere? Is he gonna look for a hint? What is he going to do? There's a bomb though. Grabbed a couple bombs. Alright, he's gonna he's going for silverless, or he is gonna beat Ganon down as much as possible until Ganon's like, hey, here's where the arrows are, go get them. And Daanty's probably hoping to not see GT. So, chat, before we get to phase 3, how about we get our guesses in? Where are the silver arrows?
We have not seen Render Room, we are about to see Compass Room, and we have not seen Ice Armors. As well as the big chest, which is a valid position for the silvers to be in GT. Also, there's always Tile Room. Then we know there are 2 more positions left, one being Palace of Darkness and one being Light World. Both mean
You're 2 hits away, 1 hit, so if you want to get the guess in, do it right now, because we're...
Both Dark Palace and Light World mean we have to fight Helmasaur King, but it is Dark Palace.
Did you find the arrows in Dark Palace? Let's go fight King.
So Daaanty has done Tower of Hera. He had to kill Vitreous for the first bow, and now he has to kill Helmasaur King for the second bow. Would you took a Aga 1 at this point just because you can?
What, just to have an all dungeon siege? I mean...
Oro searching for the silvers here on the Ice Armors. Checking out big chest first. Smart move. This is actually faster if you do all of those. Or stocking up on bombs.
Chemo, no. Hook was in Misery Mire. Samaria was also Howard.
And Oro found our Bombus Medallion. Just being in Bob's chest. Yes, it looks like Lumaga is on the way back into Misery Mire to get that bow of Vitreous.
Now, Oro is going to have to be careful though, because if you notice his arrow count, he's only at 1, so he can't get through the mimics right.
Ooh. And he isn't going to get bailed out by the ice armors.
Oh, this was a very, very nasty seed.
Yeah. This was just a headache. Take through.
I think Oro is going to go all the way to Rando Room at this point.
Yeah. Now you have those bombs. And I mean, after you got all the way over to Render Room, there is just that one room with the warps close to you where you can grab at least a few arrows.
Yes.
So this is not too bad here. But still.
So I did play this seed before the runners have. And I made a comment to Daaanty that I asked him after I finished it if he was planning on playing this seed. And he said, yeah, he was. And I told him, good, you deserve this to do this to yourself. And we were talking earlier today, and he said maybe, you know, he could potentially metagame the seed and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, no, you cannot metagame this seed. There's no way.
Think about the only thing that you could have actually metagamed were the silvers.
Maybe.
Point. But you would have gotten to everything else here. This was just cruel.
Very, yes, very, very cruel.
I mean, I personally played this myself also before this year, and my run, I started by last locating those mids and went on from there, so yeah. My run basically just went the same, about the same as
I got very lucky with mids. Because I semi-metagamed the seed from the beginning, because I knew that there were so many, because with the notes we knew how many safeties were in Kakariko, so I figured rupees were going to be sparse to begin with, so I did a Houlihan. And with the rupees that I found in Kakariko plus the 300 in Ice Rod Cave, it gave me enough for Zora, so I fake flippered right after Ice Rod Cave and had my mitts at like 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah, when I was at Ice Rod Cave, those 300 rupees in there actually put me on Zora money, but I wasn't in the escape yet, so I had no Moon Pearl. I didn't want to do the fake flipper without the water fort buried there, so...
Yeah. Well, we'll talk. Lumaga, he's down to 1 heart, he's going to use a red potion. Daanty's dropping in again, and this time with Silver Arrow. 20-man Key Sanity Multi-World.
I think I'd prefer the multi-world, to be honest.
Alright, but Daanty's down to phase 3. So 3 more hammer hits, and then we gotta put 4 silvers to put an end to this seed. And Xilo is making his way to Vitreous himself to find that bow.
Meanwhile, Lumaga finished off that fight and will be able to collect that first bow just here.
Alright, there is the first silver arrow. We get a torch.
Not really necessary, but still nice.
might. I was like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna be a triple. We'll definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, Lumaga takes down Vitreous with the.
One more silver arrow for Daaanty.
Yep. And that is.
And I am looking at the time, and Daaanty finishes this race. In a
Swag backwards dash.
fancy way, in first place with an official time of 2 hours 13 minutes and 23 seconds among our 6 runners today. But while this being first place here in overall, this won't put him in first place on the leaderboard.
Yeah, let's see the leaderboard. This will put him at second place on the team. And we're actually joined by the man who rolled this seed. So, Daaanty, what do you have to say for yourself?
I apologize. Oh, this is something else. Dude, how did Sir Link-a-Lot get such a great time on this? This is insane. Like, this seed is ridiculous.
So we'll talk about that other than that outside of here, or after we're done with your interview. But yeah, everybody was wondering if this was just you tricked us into playing a plan.
No, and see, that's what is so funny about it. And so let me see if they still have this, and give me just a second. There's a thing on Customizer, or there used to be, basically saying just because you can doesn't mean you should. And even if you try to make the game easy, the game just bites back. Like, the logic will just bite you back, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So on the bright side, you did want this to be, have everybody, maybe not this difficult to seed in Swordless, but you did want people to experience Swordless, and you technically gave them the full experience. It's like, hey, go fight Vitreous with a hammer.
Yeah, that was a nice gift, I guess. I will say that you basically, maybe mission accomplished, because the way the randomizer logic filled everything, you basically have to, I guess for lack of better phrasing, you just have to play the whole game. Like, literally, it was almost all dungeons. The only thing you didn't have to do was Aga 1, so.
Or Hera.
Well, I feel like everyone's just gonna accidentally do a Hera anyway.
So part of the reason why I got that time was because I didn't do Hera.
Ooh.
I gambled hard on my Hera.
That's spicy. Yeah, because if anyone doesn't do that, that's a decent time save, because initially when it's on the table, you can't do, what do you call it? You can't do, Herapod, so. But yeah, I am so sorry that I rolled this garbage. I was worried that it was going to be something really dumb. Like, I was thinking, okay, maybe I should just bank on Pod, and then do Pod to Sahasrahla to Ped instead of, like, fighting Ganon the first time. But then my thought was, it could be GT, so I was really hoping it was going to be in Dark Magician Room.
Yeah, well, Oro, if I'm not mistaken, he full cleared GT basement. So obviously you found the silver, so they weren't there. But yeah, he full cleared GT, and he's still looking for it. And Xilo takes a death. I believe he's got a fairy though. He does.
One more fairy, but that is his last safety. He has already burned through 2 blue potions at this point.
Yeah, I've got a lot of explaining to do, I guess.
Yeah, now you see where that comment when I said, are you going to play this seed? And you said, yes, I'm going to. And I said, good, you deserve to do this to yourself. That's why.
Well, it makes sense now because I remember we talked after after my main tourney loss, and you were like, "Don't." I said, "I'm gonna play something," and you were like, "Don't play this." I was like, "Okay, I'll try."
Yeah, you wanted a quick seed that wasn't gonna be like, what is this game doing to me? And this was like the exact opposite of what you wanted.
Yeah, I mean there was also I was the first one to put a time on the leaderboard here for the seed, so I immediately after it just asked as spoiler-free as I could if this was planned. And yeah,
Every item, and I'll upload the JSON file and see if anyone ever wants to use this again, and see if we get a nicer one. But literally everything that I placed was listed on like the generation page. So just the 10 bombs, the 4 heart containers in Blind's hut, as well as the 2 progressive males in those bombable walls. So everything else was the randomizer, the hammer and half magic. I'm sorry, that as well. But yeah, everything else was the randomizer, and that was literally just the biggest breadcrumb trail that you just had to make the most galaxy brain plays throughout it, and then maybe you get like a 140 or something. But it's insane.
I'm trying to even think of how I could have like routed it differently, because I feel like I galaxy brained a lot of this stuff. Like I did a Houlihan because I knew there was, since you had safeties built into Kakariko, that their rupees were going to be sparse. So I was like, I'm going to do a Houlihan just to be safe, so I have money for Bottle Merchant. And then when I got Ice Rod Cave, I'd already done Escape, so I had Pearl. And Ice Rod Cave gave me the 300 rupees to do Zora immediately. So I had mitts before I even went into the Dark World.
That's incredible. I felt a little behind, per se, because then everything I kind of routed neatly was like kind of thrown into chaos, because then I had to like go back to places. In my stream, I made the comment as soon as that cape popped up, because I was thinking, let's enter Thieves Town area and go south. And I said, because we've got no reason to go to Skull Woods, and then Cape showed up, and I said, I really feel like I should go check that, but the density's to the south, and lo and behold, the Fire Rod was just sitting up there. That was the play, but oops.
I mean this was pretty interesting to see or to compare all 4 runners, because we had some route diversions early, and yeah, I think at about the hour mark you were the last one to actually grab those mids among our 4 restrained runners at this point, so yeah.
Yeah, Daaanty, you were the last one to actually get mitts, so.
I felt bad putting off the Zora checks, but I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was a smart play to do at the time, and I don't know. Lately, I've been in a mood of I'm gonna go left, and the seed's telling me to go right. And then if I change my mind and start going right, then it tells me to go. It'll tell me to go the opposite way. But that is got a 172 collection coming up. This is insane.
I mean, you've got the lowest collection rate of everybody so far in the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think so.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Yeah. 173 was the lowest until you put your time in.
Yeah, but something that we might note or point out while we were talking, Lumaga actually did do the last somewhat Galaxy Brain play of this seed and did fight Helmasaur King before heading up to GT, so Lumaga will do GT with silvers and can basically skip all of it. Oro, haven't finished Helmasaur King, has those silvers, will be able to now go to Ganon to finish the seed. Daaanty, did you spend even a second on thinking maybe just do silverless after all?
I mean, we joked about it in my chat. we joked about it in my chat, and I was like, I really don't feel like becoming a god tonight. 24 frame perfect hits just doesn't feel like something I want to do. I think we had a conversation in SRL before we started this. I think I made the comment I've tried one session of doing Silverless Hammer just to see, and I think I successfully landed one hit out of like 50 attempts, and I was like, yep, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this crap.
Okay. And looks like I have to correct myself a little bit on Lumaga, as Lumaga had already the big key bailed just to do the basement, or part of the basement.
Xilo entering GT. He does not have silvers though, so we'll see how much of GT he decides to clear.
Yes, Oro is about to head into the final fight against Ganon. Almost 2.5 hours into the seed, and yeah. I am now looking at this time because my time is coming up pretty soon, so Oro is now racing against my attempt. Has, I think, about 5 minutes to finish this fight.
Let me go check the leaderboard quick, because we do have to go off IGT as well, not what they're showing, because theirs isn't in-game time. But yeah, so he probably has about 7 minutes. If he does this extremely quick, he might end up potentially third. Or not third, fourth.
Still, that's quite good for the seed.
We'll see, because it is a swordless fight. The phase 2 of this, phase 2 is already bad with a good sword, but with hammers, this phase 2 is not fun.
Yeah. So what I learned from trying it a few times is for phase 2 you really want to try to hit from the left when gun is on the upper part, because then your hammer hitbox barely fits in a way that you can hit or do multiple hits without being hit by the bats. I didn't really get a consistent hit in from below or from the right without being hit by the bats. But you can also just tank your way through the bats with enough safeties.
Yep,
All this
and Oro's got him to phase 3, so the difficult part should be done.
So the really fun way to fight Ganon in Swordless mode is phase 1 you want to land 11 of the 12 hits, and then it may or may not be faster to try and wait. Luckily both times for me it was pretty quick, but then you can wait and try to get the pattern like I did where you get him in a corner or at the top.
Oh no, Oro takes a fall.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think I managed to get Ganon into the top right corner there on one of my training sessions for Hammer Ganon, and managed to one cycle it just like with a normal sword there in the second phase.
Yeah, and it's one of those deals where, I mean, I would love to say I could take credit for just like discovering that on my own. A lot of players use that strategy. I believe it was Sailor Neb that actually was the one who told me, hey, this is like the fastest way to do this. And after that, like the being scared of Ganon, quote unquote, for swordless mode just kind of goes out the window.
So Oro doing restocking, and
I'll say this from playing like multiple swordless modes: if you're like if you watch this, you've never done a swordless seed, and you see this seed, and you're like, oh my god, I will never do a swordless seed because of what this is. This was a very extreme case of what swordless can do to you. But when you don't even have to play swordless a lot, but when you get comfortable enough with swordless that, you know, if the seed happens, you can play it, your confidence in just the regular randomizer will skyrocket because you have all of those, you know, the hammer strats basically in your back pocket, to where if I have only a fighter sword against Vitreous and nothing else to really help me, or no bow, it's like, okay, let me just pull the hammer out, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, to compare, the day before this bi-weekly seed was released, I played my first swordless and decided to play in dedicated all dungeons, and I did finish that one just 20 minutes faster than this one. So this is not an example of what normal swordless seeds are. This is just what can happen in those.
Yeah, and this was typically like, you know, it was made to try to be just an easy seed, because typically the hardest part of a swordless seed is that period of time where you're trying to find a hammer.
Yeah, my thought with placing that hammer for all the runners, and, you know, trying to be an introductory thing, and the half magic, is kind of like, you know, hey, maybe you get an early fire rod, and that's a great weapon, but if you don't have half magic, you have 8 shots, and then you get to farm magic. So the thought was, let's give them something that they can use over and over and over, like the hammer. However, you know, this is why you just don't use customizer, because unfortunately things like this happen.
Bad things happen with good intentions.
That's right. So I apologize to everyone for putting everyone through this.
I mean, from my perspective, seeing other people just suffer the same as I did gives me at least some consolation that I wasn't alone.
The funny part, I think, to me, is that Sinak in the Discord was talking about getting people to race this or play it at GDQ this week. And
oh, please.
God.
If you want to ruin your GDQ experience, this is a good way to do it.
I 100% agree.
And yeah, I do agree with Corrality. Like, Vitreous wouldn't have been as bad.